Um, you know, especially now that I'm turning my corner into being a mom, trying to figure out where I stand in my content, being more vulnerable and opening up about being pregnant, pregnancy journey, and becoming a mom, and the first 5 months doing all the hardships that are associated with it. All of the private messages I get from other women sharing their related experiences, I cry. I get so many messages that just are so touching. I used to think I was really unique and really original. And I don't mean this in a bad way, but what I'm realizing is there are no original thoughts because there's definitely someone out there who is having the same thought as you right now. And that goes same with an experience where you feel like you're the only one you know who's going through this, opening up about those things online, and then having all these women come tell me their stories has been very rewarding to just feel like, okay, I guess I am helping somebody. Drinking videos are fun, and I love helping people. I love when people are like, oh, I take your videos to the grocery store because I just can't sort through. I'm sure it's the same thing with you. People just are inundated with products. And obviously that's very meaningful to be able to help people make purchases, but it's really meaningful finding this female mom parent community.
That was Loryn Powell, who went from a degree in screenwriting to making and directing viral Facebook videos, to making a video about White Claw and becoming the Seltzpert, to launching a parenting and relationships podcast with her husband, Sean. Across nearly 3 million fans, Loryn mixes up an intoxicating combination of humor and great content ideas. She is truly a spirit guide. She's got a merch line. She's got a house full of free booze. She has a devastatingly cute baby. How did she do this? And why did she do this? And how has her life changed since she became the world's leading authority on hard seltzers? We're going to find out on this episode of The Spirit Guides, the show about the entrepreneurial journeys of the world's top booze influencers. I am your host, Tequila J. Baer. Fans of this show are known as the Sippers, and all sippers know that every show can be found at thespiritguides.info, and the videos are always at thespiritguides.video. Always a reminder that the show is sponsored by the amazing people at Love Scotch, the premier online shop for scotches, bourbons, tequilas, a lot more, including seltzers and RTDs. They've got an extensive collection curated from around the globe. They're going to bring you the best distilleries and spirits to your front door. So whether you're like a seasoned enthusiast like Loryn, or just starting your journey, Love Scotch can help you out. Check this out. Shipping is always $19.95. So it doesn't matter if you buy one bottle or all the bottles, it's $19.95, which is an amazing deal, except for Hawaii and Alaska and overseas and all those weird places. That is not in the deal. Go to lovescotch.com. That's lovescotch.com. And now here is the Spirit Guide, Loryn Powell. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. And can you write probably my eulogy at my funeral? Can you put whatever's going on my tombstone? That was great. I love everything that you just said. I've never been able to put into words what I do better than you.
Thank you. That means a lot to me because I am a genuine huge fan of you and your husband and your content, and have been since the day I started this, which was exactly 2 years ago. Next week was the first video I ever made. So thanks for inspiring me and so many people out there. Tell us a little bit about did you have a passion for seltzers before, or was the passion developed as you created videos? What's the chicken and egg for you?
Definitely. Okay. So vodka sodas, disgusting. As someone who was trying to drink a lot, but not have a ton of calories in my 20s, go to the bar, always ordered vodka sodas with 6 limes. I was that annoying girl. And I never liked it because I'm sure I was drinking crap vodka, but now in my new profession, I've discovered that I hate all vodka, even if it's $300, it doesn't matter. But anyway, when White Claw came out, I was like, this has completely replaced that low calorie, you could drink a couple option when you go to a bar or if you're drinking at home. It was the summer before the pandemic, I discovered White Claw, and I was like, this is amazing. And then in the pandemic, so I was pretty much exclusively just drinking White Claw. The pandemic hit. I was like, there's so many hard seltzers out there. I got nothing else to do. Let's go buy them all. And I think the first like seltzer review video I did, I ranked like 35 different flavors in one sitting. And so that was kind of the impetus.
You understood this world and how virality is created and what makes a good video. Like, you are a comedy writer and a comedian, and you made videos before, not only for yourself, but for clients and brands and employers. Like, you kind of had this shtick figured out before you started doing it for yourself. And I assume that was helpful.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. My husband and I, we were doing relationship sketch comedy video. When I finally like decided, hey, I'm going to stop making videos for other people. I'm just going to make videos, see if I can make myself go viral. I've made other YouTube channels and Facebook pages go viral. Can I make my own? I made my husband, who is not an actor, not a performer, he works in marketing. I made him be in all my videos that I would write. I would write these sketches, and we would film on like beautiful cameras. I would, revise my script. It was like an art. And that's like doing relationship comedy videos is what we were doing. And pretty much till the pandemic hit. When the pandemic hit, I pulled out my iPhone. I was like, I'm just curious, like, what happens if I test White Claws on a breathalyzer? Like, let's just see. I had like using my iPhone versus using two DSLRs is what we were shooting on. And it was like, why am I putting so much effort into shooting these sketch comedy videos when like just shooting on an iPhone, not scripted, personality based, suddenly was like, it performed so much better. But yeah, like being unscripted performed better than being scripted. So I have like, yes, I have my sketch comedy background, stand-up background, but the more unscripted I am, it seems like people just kind of want to feel like that's your personality.
But I love this, the journey, just your content and how it's changed over time. Like, at some point you said, hey, let's just do seltzers. Like, was it just based on audience reaction or just the growth of the seltzer category, or sort of both of those things at the same time kind of happened?
Probably both at the same time, plus just what I was passionate about. Like when I was reviewing all these different seltzers, I was like, I want to get to the bottom of this. What is the best cherry? What is the best lime? Because back then in 2020, they were normal flavors. So I literally did a video ranking, 7 different brands of black cherry. Now it's pineapple cherry, tropical cherry. Like, they all combine so many different flavors. Back then it was a lot easier. But I just like was very fascinated by figuring out what was good and what was bad. And also back then there were a lot more bad. Like the hard seltzers have definitely come a long way. They kind of figured out what they're doing. And now it's rare that I come across bad flavors.
Which makes it harder to make content, right? Because so often the bad content, the ones that are terrible, are the ones that people, either it's funnier and people share it and all that. You're like, oh, I hope these seltzers don't get too good.
Yeah.
When did you say to yourself, this is always like a question that I find so fascinating, oh, wait, this is not just like a hobby that's going well. This is now like how we're going to buy stuff in my family. And was there like a moment in time where you're like, oh, or was it just sort of a gradual staircase?
So honestly, that first video I did in the pandemic that was testing White Claws on a breathalyzer monetized very well on the Facebook platform, just organically. That monetized very well. And then from there, every iteration on like trying all these different things on breathalyzers, it was like, I couldn't get less than 1 million views on a video if I tried. It was the heyday. It was incredible. It was like the best month of Facebook revenue I've ever generated. So that really was like the pandemic summer was like, this is it. This is the shift. We kind of stopped doing as much sketch comedy and just really leaned into unscripted, personality-driven, reviewing drinks, especially, like, I can't say this enough, like, in the pandemic, it was just so fun because there was nothing to look forward to. You had no socialization. You couldn't go to a bar. You weren't going to parties. So doing it all in my house was like I had like a very fond memory of being trapped inside with drinks and a camera. But yeah, I would say that summer is when it was like, oh, this is the shift. This is the career. This is financially like realistic for me to keep doing.
The bright side of the pandemic.
I know.
For sure. It seems like it's less easy now in terms of racking up 1 million views every time. And as you mentioned earlier, tons of algorithm shifts in terms of length of content and what works and what doesn't work. I imagine, though, that you've still got scenarios where things really take off and maybe you didn't actually expect it to. You've got an example of that? That's something that did great. You're like, how did that happen?
Trying to think of the last. There'll definitely be times where I'm like, oh, okay, here's a perfect example. It's Christmas Day. I have a 1-month-old baby. She's six weeks, right? This was this year. And Sean and I were like, Sean's my husband, was like, let's make mimosas. And so I was like, hey, will you make me a mimosa? I just pulled out my phone. There's no ring light. I didn't even tell him what I was going to do, what I wanted him to say. And he was like, I recorded him saying, how much OJ do you want? And I was like, that's good. And he laughed and he was like, no, really? Tell me when to stop. And I was like, stop, before he even started pouring. It's like, it's literally not planned. I put no effort into it. I uploaded it. I edited it. Didn't even edit it because there's no cuts. 14 million views on Instagram, like, of just POV asking my husband to make me a mimosa, and I'm actually not asking him to give me a mimosa at all. Whereas I'll spend days writing a script like I used to do, and I still kind of do these, like, If Your Drinks Could Talk sketches, where I have 8 different alcohol costumes. I work on the script for a week. This whole thing takes me all day to film, so it's just like, wow, I worked really hard on something, and if it doesn't perform, it hurts. And then when you're just like, you whip your phone out, put barely any effort into it, it blows up. You're like, what am I doing?
Yeah, why am I spending this kind of time? Exactly. Obviously, the If Your Drinks Could Talk videos are probably the far end of your preparation in your process. What's the sort of day-to-day kind of regular Loryn Powell video look like? Are you writing those scripts out, way in advance? Are you shooting one a day? Are you batching and shooting like 6 or 7 videos in a row? How does that work? Especially now with a baby, it's going to be a little.
Yeah, as I batched 6 or 7 videos in my industry, I'd say with yours, like I wouldn't be able to walk at the end of the day. Like, I pretty much am pretty reactive. Like today I'm looking at the 12-pack of Seagram's Escapes that I just tested today, filmed, and then I just basically immediately start editing. My days are like 90% of my days are editing. It's like 10% filming and the rest is editing. I don't batch shoot, mostly because I feel like I need to, like, I'm afraid of, it's like, how do you find new ways to describe drinks when you've done it so many times? I'm sure you run into this too. And so it's like, I feel like separating out, maybe doing it once a week. Well, with the baby now, it's like once a week. I was doing like maybe 2 to 3 before I got pregnant. But spacing it out gives me a chance to come up with new funny jokes on the fly, different ways to describe cherry. And I do pre-plan, I'll come up with some puns ahead of time. The worst puns are the ones that I thought of on the spot, and those are my favorite usually. Or I do a little research on the product just to see if there's anything I should be like keeping an eye out for, which actually sometimes there isn't, but I just reviewed Blake Lively's cocktail line, and nowhere on their website does it mention this, but she, in an interview, mentioned that she puts butter, or there is butter in one of the cocktails. It doesn't say it because it's a butter extract, so it's flavoring. It's not actually like dairy or whatever. So it doesn't have that list on the ingredients anywhere. But that, I think, made my video 10 times more interesting, being like, what is this butter cocktail? So like prepping, kind of researching ahead of time gets me like little nuggets I can use, even if it is unscripted.
Hey sippers, hope you're loving this episode of The Spirit Guides. If you are, would you please follow the show on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts, or subscribe to the show on YouTube. And the most important thing you can do for the show and for me is to leave a review. It makes a big difference. Thanks so much. Back to the show. What's been the most rewarding aspect of all this for you?
Especially now that I'm turning my corner into being a mom, trying to figure out where I stand in my content, being more vulnerable and opening up about being pregnant, pregnancy journey, and becoming a mom, and the first 5 months doing all the hardships that are associated with it. All of the private messages I get from other women sharing their related experiences, or just I cry. I get so many messages that just are so touching, because you always, or I used to think I was really unique and really original, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but what I'm realizing is there are no original thoughts, because there's definitely someone out there who is having the same thought as you right now, and that goes same with an experience where you feel like you're the only one who's going through this, opening up about those things online, and then having all these women come tell me their stories has been very rewarding, to just feel like, okay, I guess I am helping somebody. Drinking videos are fun, and I love helping people. I love when people are like, oh, I take your videos to the grocery store because I just can't sort through. I'm sure it's the same thing with you. People just are inundated with products. And so I obviously that's very meaningful to be able to help people make purchases, but it's really meaningful, finding this kind of female mom parent community.
It's really, really powerful and resonant content. That whole approach that you've guided to is extraordinary. But I've been making content more on the B2B side for 20 years, and it's been true every single day that the more vulnerable and approachable you are as somebody that people see online, the more they feel connected to you, and the more that content works. I find, though, that it's really admirable what you've done, because for me, as you get more quote unquote popular, I don't really like that word, but as you get more popular and you get more people tuning into your content, I always feel like it's easier to put those barriers up, right? Because you just don't want to be as accessible, because it's okay, this is kind of spinning out of control a little bit. And so you become less vulnerable, even though you should be more vulnerable. Maybe that's because I'm just Swiss and a dude and Libra. But it's a challenge.
No, you're absolutely right, because what it is, when I first started, I could make things without that voice in my head of predicting what the trolls were going to say, without thinking about what the complaints were going to be. And now every time I make a video, I find myself, they get edited out a lot, but I'm constantly making these disclaimers, or for those of you who, and I know you're going to say, and I cut all of that out, but I always find myself getting to it before someone else tries to correct me. And so in a sense, it is the bigger as I've gotten bigger, it becomes paralyzing to feel like someone's going to have something to say about what you say. And I've been very careful, even more careful with the mom stuff, because I'm terrified of someone being like, hey, your car seat's installed correctly, you're a terrible mother. If I'm terrified of people seeing stuff in my house where they're like, I can't believe you have that. That's, I can't believe you use baby formula.
Your outlets aren't covered.
Yeah. So the vulnerable parts have been tough. It's hard to find a good balance of I want to open up and share with people, but I also am terrified of people coming for me or criticizing me. It's a lot. It was a lot easier when I didn't care what anyone said, because nobody was saying anything, if that makes sense.
True or false, this would be better if there were no comments?
Oh, I don't know. I love reading comments. I do. I think unfortunately, I could be really excited about a video. I could be like, I love this video. I'm so proud of this video. If that video bombs, I suddenly am like, what a waste of my time. I don't feel fulfilled. Like comments, engagements, shares, views make me feel like that was successful. That was really good. People really liked that. People really like me. I know it's toxic to think that way, but unfortunately for me, my community is so positive. So my comments are really positive until something goes viral and it reaches the side of the internet it didn't belong on.
People who don't already know you, don't know where you're coming from, don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Yep. Totally agree.
Especially like being a woman on the internet, TikTok is really bad about this. Like if it reaches like young males, they just it's crazy the kind of things that they like say when they see like a woman talking with authority about anything.
We have the same issue, and it's always on TikTok. Like if it goes viral, then if it goes viral on TikTok, we get the why am I listening to gringos about tequila, right? As soon as it goes viral, I have to cross the border, then they're coming.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the same dynamic for sure.
But it's tough. I think like the things that go viral are polarizing. And there's a reason things are going viral is because people do feel emotional about the video they just watched. And so you're like, do I do this even though I know it's probably going to upset some people? Or do I protect my mental health and like just stay away from that?
What's been a challenging moment or obstacle you faced in your journey? And was it having Chipotle right before you had a baby?
Wow. Yeah, that was a colorful moment. Let's see. A challenging, you mean like transitioning from not being a parent to suddenly being a parent, trying to navigate content, or even just trying to figure out content in general, like pre-baby?
I mean, whatever you think was something that you really are going to remember as a milestone.
I think probably the biggest, like, it is trying to figure out how to navigate content from being known as like a drinking creator to a parent, and navigating that fine line of like, videos of dads drinking, hilarious. Videos of moms drinking, we don't know how we feel about that because mom is the only one who can watch the baby. So really navigating, like I truly believe I can't make breathalyzer videos anymore. From partly because I'm like, being hungover with a baby I'm not interested in that at all. But also because I know people are going to be like, why is this mom with a new baby? Why isn't she taking care of her baby? Why is she filming herself drink? So I'm currently in the most challenging part of my career, I feel like, is finding what my content looks like, what my path is,
So what impact did being a spirit guide or becoming a spirit guide have on the rest of your personal life and your relationships? Like, did Sean know what he was signing up for, and your friends and like your family? Or they're like, what is happening with this?
Sean probably knew what he was signing up for. When we started dating, even though I was working for other YouTube channels, like I was still trying to make my own videos. When I threw him in, I don't think he knew. I don't think he ever thought he was going to be like asked to act. And the podcast, like everything coming from someone who's not a performer, like everything has been a bit of a learning curve for him. But he's like, if he could, he wants to make more videos. And I'm like, well, you need to learn how to edit because I can't edit my videos and yours. But I think he's like, he wants to be all in on like making content.
So he's going to make his own stuff.
Is it pipe dream, down the line.
Without you.
But yeah, I'm like, good luck. He wants to make more content, but he needs to like learn how to edit.
Yeah, good luck. I'm the star, Sean. It's not gonna work without me.
Well, I'm just like, I'm the puppet master a little bit, like.
For sure. I love that.
I make it look good.
What do you tell your parents you do? When they're like, what exactly is your job? Like, how do you describe that?
I think I'm a video creator. You know, I have a hard time explaining to anyone what I do. And I think when I get nervous, I just go, I make drinking videos. And people are like, what? I remember I was in the Uber once and someone was like, what do you do? And I was like, I make internet videos. And that's such a weird, I never realized how weird and vague internet videos is. But by the end of the ride, the guy was like, so you're on OnlyFans? I was like, okay, I need to really dial in how I describe
I have a more specific answer.
Yeah, I make videos reviewing drinks comedically, and that's, yeah. My parents love all the stuff that I do. And it's funny, like, I drink, but I'm not vulgar. I'm a very PG, very clean level drinker. You know, I've been very scarred, but I'm terrified of the algorithm. I'm terrified of like getting demonetized. So I don't make innuendos half the time. Like, I'm just the squeakiest clean, like, video maker. It's an interesting juxtaposition.
You're the Jim Gaffigan of booze content. I love it. It's great.
Yeah.
How do you see the spirits industry and kind of the role of influencers working with brands? Like, how do you see that evolving in the future?
You know, it's interesting. I feel like it's already evolved and it keeps evolving. But so like, I feel like you can't if you're doing a branded alcohol review or branded alcohol video in general, I feel like it can't be too produced or people will confuse it with marketing from the brand itself or like a commercial, which is so funny because in the beginning of YouTube days, like everybody wanted to make their stuff look as professional as possible. And now I feel like we kind of have to scale that back and look not too polished so that people feel like it's authentic and genuine and not like it's paid to be overly produced. And it's so funny how I feel like it's just shifting back and forth. I don't know.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I completely agree. Yeah, no, the pendulum is sort of swinging, more produced, less produced, longer, shorter. It's good job security. That's for sure.
In terms of like, so one of the things I feel like I battle with a lot is brands, especially alcohol brands, they know that they can send their product out for free and people will review it or share it on their Instagram story. And so I no longer like accept, unless it's something I can't get my hands on, like Doritos vodka. No, actually I did buy that one. Just a weird sentence. But if it's something that like I can't get in California, it's Old Bay vodka. At the time, wasn't available in California. So I reached out to them and I was like, will you send me this for... Did you try it?
No, but I don't think I want to.
It's fun. I like the weird stuff. But anyway, I feel like brands are kind of willing to pay less and work with influencers less, because they know I can just send it to 100 creators on TikTok who will just say yes to anything. Like, people love getting free stuff, especially free booze. So it actually makes it really hard for brand deals. So I'll be very curious to see how that changes, if that changes, like, yeah, especially for me and my bank account.
Yeah, that's a very astute observation. Do you have an underrated seltzer that you wish more people would gravitate towards?
I know it's like so on the nose, but like I love a good White Claw. I always have, like, it's just, I don't have to think about it. I don't have to think about what I want to buy at the store. If I'm going somewhere where we're going to be drinking a couple. I wish I had a more exciting answer, but the truth is, if I'm like at a bar and they have White Claw, because it's just Old Faithful. It's just, I don't have to think about this twice.
Last question. If you could sip a great seltzer or Old Bay vodka, whatever, or White Claw, with anybody in the world, you could pick anybody in the world to have a drink with, who would it be?
It really put me on the spot here. It's funny, I'm sure there's something more prolific I could say, but honestly, like Tina Fey and Amy Poehler, they are like my idols. They're comedians who are also screenwriters. They've written and acted and things, but that's what I thought I was going to do when I moved to LA, was like write myself into movies and TV. So I would love to like get drunk with Tina Fey and Amy Poehler. Should I have said Jesus?
I think that is an excellent answer. And if that happens, no, I think Tina and Amy were the best answer. And if that happens, I just want to, I'll film it. You guys can hang and I'll do camera. Loryn, thank you so much for being here. Absolute pleasure. Really enjoyed it. Congratulations on all the success. We'll make sure everybody can find all your content as well. Thanks again.
Thank you so much. And thanks for not roasting me for having the Clase Azul in my upper corner. I was waiting for you to...
That'll be in the show notes. It'll be in the show notes. Sippers, that was Loryn Powell, the Seltzpert, co-host of the Kapower Hour podcast as well. You can find her on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube too at Loryn Powell. That's Loryn. Go to thespiritguides.info or thespiritguides.video for links and show notes and my thoughts on Clase Azul. Big thanks to our friends at lovescotch.com for their support. Check out their extraordinary collection. They'll send it right to your door. Our show, produced by Content10x.com, whom we love and recommend for all digital content. I am Tequila J. Baer. You can make mine a double. Sippers. See you next time on The Spirit Guides.